All right, guys, we're going to try this one more time. We had a technical difficulty. Something froze in the world of technology. And we were talking about...
Well, wait 1 second.
Okay, yes.
If you are not watching us live and you're catching us on replay on YouTube, that's Patty and I'm Carrie.
There you go. And we are StudioR12.
Yes.
And it's Tuesday and we go live every Tuesday. And if you love that, give us a thumbs up. Helps our algorithm. And make sure you subscribe if you love painting, crafting, and DIY.
Yes. But before we were kicked off, we were talking about our ribbon organization tutorial that is on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. So you can find that there.
This used to be a big bin of ribbon, and that's what we were talking about when we got booted. Yeah. So,
and our bunny,
hop, hop.
We are in Easter mode right now.
Yes.
And our video last week was showing you how to paint this really cute bunny project.
Yeah. And that was on our YouTube channel. And then what we try to do for years and years, I was published in magazines and the artwork was published in magazines, and you always had to work 6 months in advance. Mm-hmm. We try to do 2 to 3 months for you guys. So we're in Easter mode, even though it's February, because we want you to be able to do this ahead of time. Once this goes into the world of next year, you'll be able to access it all year long. Yeah. So it won't matter. But for this year, 2023, it will matter.
Yes.
So.
And then we also have one more Easter project coming. I gave you guys a sneak peek of this background the other day. It is so crusty and chunky.
It is. This is sawdust and paint, and I'm going to show you how to do it. I'm going to show you how to antique it. I'm going to show you the difficulties and the tricks. So that'll be this Saturday's video on YouTube. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yes. Let's see, what else do we have to talk about? Today we do have a really great sale for Valentine's Day. It is February 14th, 2023, and several of our project sets are on sale today.
Yeah, and so that's the entire kits,
yes,
right?
So it includes things, it can include stencil surfaces, sometimes embellishments, sometimes tools. So you can get a nice variety of things, but it really takes out the guesswork for you. We have a lot of people tell us, what size do I don't know what size to get. Yeah. And
so like a rectangle for this project with this size stencil would be super cute together, but like then you might have to shop the entire website for all the rectangles, and some rectangles are this size, some are this size, and so it can be difficult to shop for them. So we put them together in kits so that you guys, if you want to make a project, you just one click, done.
Absolutely.
One and done.
One and done. And then on top of the easy button, most of our kits
used to have an easy button.
We did used to have an easy button. Most of our kits have tutorials that go along with them. So we do have a few here and there that we've just put together because we thought they would be great together. But most of them we already have tutorials for, so you can go step by step and paint with us.
Yeah, exactly.
But I'll share the link to both of those.
So today we're going to be talking about how to recover from digging a hole in your paint. And that is the lesson today. And then you guys make sure that you are absolutely asking us questions. The reason we go live, and we do this every Tuesday if possible. Heads up, April is coming, and I don't think we're going to be live in April. But we might have to figure out what we do in April.
Yeah. You might just skip me.
Yeah. Somebody's doing a thing, and it's going to be a whole thing. It's going to be a fun thing. Yeah, I know. But anyway, so let's get started on the lesson, shall we? Okay, so we are going to talk about this. I've got a piece of board that is painted black, and I've taped my stencil down so that I can just show you without having to hold things and move things and do all of that kind of stuff. I have pre-done a hole, and I want to talk about what makes a hole when you're stenciling. And when I did this, I was trying to cover my black paint with this yellow color. Yellow is a dangerous color to try to cover with because it doesn't have a lot of pigment. The pigment is very expensive, and so when they make the paint, they don't put a lot of filler. If they want it to be yellow, this filler would mean it would be white. And I'll give you an example of one that has, so this is an example of one where they filled it with a lot of white, so it would lighten it. So anything that's vibrant, like this color, is going to be difficult to cover with. And when it's difficult to cover with, you're gonna use like way more paint, way more layers, way more stuff. So my lesson today is to show you how to do this and not dig a hole, and then also how to recover from digging a hole. I feel like there's life lessons in here that we can, don't dig holes. But these are examples of colors that, and Carrie's got their numbers. These are colors that I would be afraid would dig holes if you were doing something in a bright color, a bright pink, a bright red, a bright yellow. So anything that's super vibrant means there's not filler. If there's not filler, that means it's gonna be sheer. And if it's sheer, it's gonna dig a hole because you have 5 layers. And I think my definition of why this happens is that when I actually used a blow dryer. I didn't use a blow dryer like for 10 minutes, but I did 2 or 3 coats, used the blow dryer, and then I was swirling to try to like even out the final kind of coat. My underneath layers were not dry. And so when your underneath layers are still wet, you're gonna kind of pick up the paint. And then also wet is attracted to wet. And so when you have wet paint on your brush and wet paint on your surface, the two are gonna kind of bond together, and that can dig a hole as well. So let me show you, I'm debating in my head, and maybe you guys, let me have you guys say whether or not you want me to show you how to prevent the hole or show you how to dig a hole. But I've already got a hole, so I can show you how to fix that while you guys are commenting to Carrie. So give us some comments, give us some ideas of what you want. This may be a little bit kind of strange because we had that technical hiccup and stuff. So let's show how to repair the hole. So we've got our yellow color. I'm gonna take my brush. I'm starting with the brush. And sometimes you have to be flexible with what you're doing. So I'm starting with the brush and I'll see how it behaves. I'm gonna pick up my color, dry brush, dry paint, and I've just picked up from the edge. And then I'm going to offload. With painting and stenciling, you almost always need to offload, because if you pick up a wad of paint and you smear it on your stencil, it's gonna scooch that paint right underneath your stencil, so you don't want that.
Okay, so I'm gonna say the general consensus is both.
Okay.
We have a couple boths.
Okay.
We have a couple fixings,
okay,
and we have a couple prevents.
All right, so I will show you all 3. Okay, so now we're gonna go here on the hole, and we're going to just, right in the middle of that hole, I'm so soft pressure, because what I don't want to do is smear everything on top of the solid color, because that'll make the hole bolder, if that makes sense. So I'm going to start right in the middle of the hole. I'm going to kind of stipple, and I'm going to feather towards where the hole edges are. And then I'll turn my brush so I'm not stippling so much on top of this yellow. And this is where the layers game, stenciling is a layers game, comes in. So see how that's just got some makeup on that. Pick up a little more paint, but this is what I'm gonna do. What I didn't do when I dug my hole is use the blow dryer. So we will use the blow dryer, and then we come back to this and we do a little bit more. And I'm not swirling right now because I want that heavier paint to land on that hole. I've got a few rocky places up here as well. Okay, so see how that hole is fading? You can still see it. If I squint my eyes, I can see it. If I'm cold, I'm wet, and I can feel that already. It's a chill. So I'm gonna come over here, and we're gonna come back to this one in just a minute. It is definitely cold to the touch, and it is not over here. So use your fingers when you need to know if your paint is wet.
So I can already say, our friend Brenda just said, I have been trying to fix a hole so wrong. So
Yeah. So you guys, no kidding. There's a phenomenal artist who I wanted to paint her apples. I was all the way at the end of the thing. I dug a hole through like a 2-week long project like you would not believe. And I about just like took the thing and threw it across the room. I was so aggravated. It was so pretty. Like I'd done everything right to the end of the thing and then dug the hole. And it was sad. It was sad. But I did fill the hole and I learned from it. So good lessons. Okay, so now if we're gonna dig a hole, I'm gonna show you how to dig a hole. So we're gonna go over here. We're gonna pick up our paint. We're gonna wipe it off and we're gonna not be too careful because I've got yellow paint and I wanna go on top of black, right? So I know I have to be heavy. And we have the advantage of having a painting workshop, like a cork and canvas, but with boards and stencils business here in our town. And I get to watch this happen with any big space. So big space, big letters on a stencil. Big piece of fruit. Every time you have a bigger hole in your stencil, they're the ones that always dig a hole. Okay, so we're stippling, we're going along, it's looking pretty even. Okay, so I'm just gonna move the paint. But you can see, like, I'm impatient. So what was our thing earlier? It was hurry and, nope. Quick and, we had a little cute saying that we came up with and we didn't write it down.
I don't remember it at all.
Yeah, so, but yeah, when you are trying to go fast, it is going to bite you in the butt there. So don't try to go fast, but you want to cover and you want to get it done. Okay, so we've got that. So now it's pretty heavy. I'm going to show you a thing right over here. I'm going to do it out of that area. Like, that's how much paint I can pick up on my finger. So that tells you how wet that project is. I'm gonna patch that because I can. Now I'm gonna dry it, but I'm gonna think I'm drying, just like over here. This is still actually a little bit chilly. Okay, that's dry to the touch, okay? But it's cold. Okay, so I, like, even after I just blow dry, this is warm over here. This is cold. So like impatient painters do, you're gonna pick up more paint and you're gonna be like, okay, I can do this. And then as you're getting some of these splotches and stuff, you're gonna start doing this kind of swirly thing, right? So now this is our swirl, you know? But then as you go, you start kind of pulling away. And I don't have 3 coats on this one like I did on the other one. But you pick up your paint, you go again. I want to just cover that. And now you're swirling, you get to the middle. Swirling is really good to do in the middle. And then watch it pull away. It's picking up down to that base color and it's going to dig that darn hole. Okay, so you can do different things. If you continue to stipple, you're going to be okay. It's when you swirl on thick wet paint. So I kind of mixed my two, right? I was stippling and then I started swirling. That is the perfect way, perfect storm to get yourself a big hole dug in this project. Patience is the way to not have a hole. So let's go on the other side of here and I'm gonna wipe off a whole bunch of that paint. And we'll go back to our accidental, our other hole. Now I'm gonna start swirling. I was stippling, and it's still chilly. Like, guys, and it's warm in here. This room is warm. So if you're painting on metal, metal is gonna be one of the things that is absolutely, it's non-porous. The paint is gonna have a really difficult time drying, so you're gonna wanna let that paint dry and cure. You can put it next to your wood stove. You can put it next to a heater. People have even put it in like a 200-degree oven, that kind of thing, and just kind of get it to cure. So that can be a really big problem child. The one that I had a problem with way back in the day was a wooden plate. Okay, I'm gonna do one more stipple, because now that I put my glasses on, I can see way more details. So it's starting to get kind of the same color as everything else. And I'll go around now and I'll stipple everywhere else. So I didn't get this done before I started pulling that hole. Yeah, that's looking like it's gonna be a good little patch. Okay, and so don't go over those wet areas before you dry. Okay, you can do two things. You can go get you another glass of wine. You can go get you another glass of coffee. You can go to the bathroom, like take a break, use a blow dryer. Like these are all the tricks that you can do.
And we do a lot of our projects when we are painting samples or preparing to film. We try to kind of do them around lunchtime so we can get them, paint them, let them dry at lunch, and then come back in the afternoon.
Yeah, or if you're so say you're gonna paint a project, get that background done, like you're in the process of painting lemons, and then go ahead and paint the background of next week's project or tomorrow's project, and you know, that kind of thing. Get some of the base done so that you don't have to do so much waiting.
Yeah.
So this lemon has 3 coats of paint on it, and this lemon has the 2. Okay, so it takes a lot of coats to cover over black. Okay, so I think, hope it's dry enough. I still feel a little bit of a chill. So then if I want to finish this with gentle pressure, I can go kind of all over and give it a swirl.
Okay, so Anita asked a question. I'm going to kind of play off of that.
Okay.
She asked about undercoating with white. So if you undercoat, are you going to lessen your chances of this potentially happening?
Yes, and that's actually the third thing that we're going to show. So I showed you how to dig a hole. This one's not dug as deep as this one was. I did intentionally go at that a little bit, but the way that this started was exactly how the one that I dug in my beautiful apples happened to me. So I'm going to lift this up and I'm going to show you some undercoating. Okay, I'll come over here.
Our friend Janice said, I don't have a problem digging a hole, just fixing the hole.
Agreed. I feel like there's a life lesson in that statement right there. Right there. Okay, so if I was painting in a yellow, well, I'll go to the reds. Reds are really good about gray primer. I don't know if any of you, I know red was a big dining room color wall choice years ago. They sell a gray primer because you're going to do 85 coats of red if you try to ever paint red over something. So you go in the middle, you cut it with gray, and then you put the red over the top. In the yellow family, I felt like I might be mixing colors and making them into a little bit of a green. And so I kind of chose a neutral toffee kind of color in a neutral family. This is not a color we use very often, so I'm going to give it a good shake.
And we have some videos on painting with red.
Yeah.
And I'm going to see if I can find those.
Stinking red, man. Whew. It's a color to fight with. Okay, so I'm going to pick up number 84. And then I'm not going to try to base coat with number 84. I'm going to I'm going to swirl. And I'm just going to dust everything. I just want to cut that black. Because 3 heavy coats of yellow is what is causing the problem, is it's going to be wet. The other thing that, I don't know if you noticed, but I'm moving constantly towards my colors. I don't want to go around the outline of it and then leave like a big black hole in the middle. I kind of want to do this super quick. So that's why the swirling.
So this color is 84. And then the gray that we had out, which is
36.
what we would use for a red or a pink, is 36.
Yeah. And if you're wondering what we're referring to, those are we did a color chart, which you can see on the website, and it shows the Sherwin-Williams, which is these paints, and then the Deco Art, which is the craft paints that most of you will be painting with. If you're doing big, bold projects like big, tall porch signs and stuff, you might want to buy the Sherwin-Williams. The Deco Art is more pigmented and it's more sizable. You're not going to have so much paint laying around. But do you see how much that cut the color of the black? Okay, so I can go in there. If I feel like I've got some spots, I can go back in, just dust over it. I didn't even pick up any more paint. And so that is going to be a good base. I am going to not neutralize this brush. I'm going to chuck it straight into the water because I don't want a different color yellow. I want my yellow to cover. And so that's like what I'm after, is covering. So flip that paper towel over. It's cold. I think that's the thing we're learning today, is cold counts. So even if you can touch it and it doesn't move, doesn't mean it's dry.
Right.
Yeah.
So as Patty is getting back into painting this, I wanted to remind you, if you are not already subscribed to our newsletter, you can go to StudioR12.com and a spinning wheel will pop up and you can enter your email address and spin the wheel. And we send out emails 6 days a week and we give you amazing tips and tricks and techniques and trends. We let you know about sales. We let you know about new products. And we are actually getting ready to start a brand new segment.
It's going to be fun.
It's going to be fun. It's going to be a what to paint. And we're going to try to do this on Wednesdays. We'll see how it goes. But that's how we're going to start now, just because of the alliteration. But this is going to be a place where we're going to tell you, you know, what are the craft painters painting in this specific season? If you are looking to sell, go ahead and order this. These are the trends that are going on. These are really cool backgrounds to use for different projects. So it's going to kind of add another easy button to your shopping experience, because we'll be, you know, we're on this side of it and we're seeing all of these things, but you might not be seeing them from your craft room.
And some of the, I interviewed a new painter, new crafter, and the what to paint was one of her specific problems. You know, she wanted to, you know, like, deciding on things and like, how do you choose? And like, then how do you choose the colors and stuff like that? So we want to make that easier for you guys to do.
Yeah.
So, and then even getting in front of it, like, you buy the thing and then you kind of don't realize that, hey, in 6 weeks it will be Easter.
Sure.
So we're showing you all the Easter stuff now so you can buy the thing. And to be very honest and fair, to paint that sign, you're watching it in like real time, I think it took an hour. So now that's because I'm experienced. So maybe we say you might double your time and it might take you 2 hours. But you see what I'm saying? So it doesn't take a long time to do a project. Sometimes it just takes beginning.
It does. Well,
starting is the hard part.
And as Brenda said, I cannot decide on colors. I think for a lot of us that the deciding on the colors and doing the research into it actually takes longer than the painting.
Yeah, if I was to say about the bunny project, it was like, okay, do I do pink? Do I do this? Do I do this? Do I do this? And then down a Pinterest rabbit hole, and then pretty soon, you know, there go rabbit hole. I hate it when I do it and I don't know that I did it. Anyway, but going down that rabbit hole is like, then you're 2-3 hours into choosing your colors. And I gotta say, on this ribbon organization, one of the things that this does for you is it shows you that if you use this yellow and you put that white texture on it, that it's going to be that kind of look. So you can get inspired from your ribbons, your fabrics, all of those things, because they will put the colors together for you. So look around you. And even for decoration for like my house, I have 3 colors that I use almost all the time. One is a mustard yellow, one is a sage green, and one is rusty red. And I had to think for a second. Wait, there's a third one. But I use them in different amounts. And it's so interesting that I've been doing that for years. So they're obviously, that's my palette.
It is.
I'm just going to go with that palette. And so then I can change. Like right now I have a creamy yellow, it's not a bright yellow, but a couch that's a subtle mustard.
Yeah.
I just
A
made up that
muted
color.
mustard.
A muted mustard.
Muted mustard.
Mr. Mustard in the conservatory with the
in
lead
the living
pipe.
room.
Yeah.
With the bookshelf.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, right. So anyway, but yeah, so I can change out that sofa and I could have something else in that place. And now that's not the yellow piece.
Right.
It could be the green piece, or whatever. So if you have a palette you love, go with that.
I have a question from Toby. Do you just prime with the grays on darker surfaces or on all surfaces for red and yellow?
Light and dark.
Yes.
So you want to do, if I had a whiteboard, I'd be having the same exact problem. Although, if I had a whiteboard and yellow, the white would help the yellow pop. So sometimes, thank you, Toby.
It's a great question.
It's a great
because
question.
we ran into it on this one. So you have a whiteboard here, and we still have a couple spots on the pink ear on the top.
Yep.
There's still a couple of spots.
Yeah. So, but it makes it pop, but it doesn't necessarily, I don't know that I would undercoat that. If I did, it might be with a whiter pink, like I would choose something close, but so you want something that bridges your background and your color that you're going to put on top. So you need a in between, you need a mediator.
Yeah, so unfortunately that isn't really a black and white answer on this. You'll kind of have to play around with it and see. It's going to be determined by what colors you're using in your background.
Yeah. Okay, so that is kind of cured. I've got one swirled coat, and now we'll go on here and notice that I am stippling, and that I'm stippling in a unified kind of path. I'm not going around the edges, and I'm not waiting for anything to dry. I am blending as I'm going because I am treating the wet paint as my friend. So I'm using the wet to blend as I stipple instead of swirling on that wet paint where I would be digging into the paint. But the wet that is near this color is going to be helping me blend the two paths together. Now there's one more trick I want to show you. And see how I just left that hole right there? Go in a row, in a row, in a row. And then you let that good and dry, and that's going to be a great thing. One more trick. Mr. Jumbo Dauber. Okay, so this Jumbo Dauber is your friend when you have big holes. Okay, so you're going to pick up your paint. It's a big old thing.
Big holes meaning big spaces in this instance, not
big,
necessarily a hole in the paint.
Yeah, no. This is a big hole in your stencil. And so if I want to, did you see how many I had to do to get through? Now I know, right? My arm is like, it's like a jackhammer. Anyway, so with this guy, watch this lemon. So I'm doing a lot, but I'm covering so much faster. So the paint is staying wetter, so it blends more evenly. Jumbo Daubers are amazing. Gonna get a little bit more paint. Always offload. I'm gonna go right down to the bottom. I'm gonna pick it up. I'm gonna go again because it's all wet and I'm not digging at dry paint. I don't know why I keep going back to the middle on that. Look at how beautiful that is compared to that one.
With no undercoat.
With no undercoat, yeah. Jumbo Dauber for the win. But if you don't have Jumbo Daubers, then you want to undercoat, then you do a couple of swirls, and then you do some stippling, and you build your layers. Stenciling is a layers game. Absolutely. When you have a big, giant place and bold colors.
Yeah,
so,
agreed.
You guys, happy Valentine's Day, and we will see you next week on Tuesday.
Bye.